Welcome to Sound Bites from Overeaters Anonymous. Our show will educate you about OA's 12-step program so you recognize the symptoms of compulsive eating and find the support you need in a program that works to help you control your eating behaviors and maintain a healthy weight. In this next hour, you will realize you're not alone and that there is hope for recovery and a whole new life free of obsession with food and weight. Now, here is your host, Naomi Lippel.
Good afternoon and welcome to Soundbites from Overeaters Anonymous, a 12-step solution to compulsive eating. I'm Naomi Lippel, Managing Director of Overeaters Anonymous, or OA. This 13-week series about OA will provide information on what the program's all about and how it's worked for people who are struggling with their weight and eating compulsively. We hope it'll help you decide if it might be right for you. On today's program, we'll be talking about keeping your eating sane during the holidays. 'Tis the season for the annual holiday food frenzy. From October through January, holiday celebrations revolve around food. Family get-togethers, office parties, potlucks. For people who don't have any issues with food or with their eating patterns, they may overindulge a bit, but not at the expense of their overall health and well-being. But for the compulsive eater who's trying to abstain from addictive eating, binging, purging, or food obsession, this time of year can be especially challenging. Joining us today are three guests from OA who will talk about what it's like for them during the holiday season now that they've reached and are maintaining a healthy weight. Since anonymity is an important principle of our program, we'll only be using their first names. We'll begin with Michelle. Welcome, Michelle. Are you there?
Hi, Naomi.
So first, tell me how much weight you've lost and how long you've kept it off.
I've been in program 11 and a half years, and I've been maintaining my abstinence for that time, and I'm maintaining a 108-pound weight release for over the last 9 years.
So that was 180 pounds, is that what you said?
178.
178. That's amazing. So briefly, what was it like before you found OA when you were struggling with compulsive eating? Do you have some specific examples of how your life was affected?
For me, I constantly thought about the food. It seems that there was nothing but food on my mind. I could be eating a normal meal, and I'm already thinking about the next thing I was going to binge on. It was constantly in the forethought of my mind. I often was planning the next binge. One of my sneakiest moments used to be when I would, at night, my parents would be in bed, and because I wanted a certain item out of our cabinet, it was in a can, and it was a pretzel bag, but I didn't want my parents to hear me opening the can or the bag of pretzels, so I would go and I'd run the faucet in hopes that they wouldn't hear me. That's just how bad I was.
And when the holidays came around, what was that like for you?
A free-for-all. I would just devour anything possible. When we would have holidays, I'm an only child, so we didn't live in the same town as most of my family, so we would travel to other family members' houses, and sometimes it would be more than one family in a day, and usually it was buffet-style type environment. So we'd come in, it didn't even have to be the time of day that you would typically eat, and I would graze all day. And because it was set up buffet-style, my parents might not be in the room, so they didn't know how much I was eating, and I would go on like that at each house and pick out the things that I liked the best. I'd look for those traditional family favorites and all the goodies. Those were the things that caught my eye the most.
And what about when you became an adult? How did you deal with the holidays and with compulsive eating at that time?
Before I came into OA?
No, when you were an adult, after you weren't living, at home anymore?
Oh, when I moved out, I actually gained even more weight. When I was this is my second marriage. My first marriage, I actually gained over 100 pounds because I was out on my own, and I was dating somebody that their family just loved to cook and didn't think people cooked with lard anymore. But, it was just, they accepted me the way I was, and they would feed me, and we would go out to eat all the time, so it became even worse. And I became even sneakier at times as well.
Tell me again, you became...
I could be even sneakier when, because I was on my own, nobody knew what I was doing. And, if no one's at home, I could do what I wanted. Or because I wasn't under my parents' roof anymore, I could drive to where I wanted to get the things I wanted. Instead of trying to sneak out of the house and steal money, I was now on my own, paying for my own way. And It was much worse because I was working and I could afford my binges so much more.
And when the holidays came around as an adult, was it the same kind of, did you feel like it was the same kind of free-for-all that you did when you were a kid?
I never really thought about it. I guess it really was the same, but I was more mindful of because I was an adult, I was watching what other people were doing. So I would have the Diet Coke in my hand and making you think that I was on a diet, but I'd still be stuffing my face with something else. But I didn't get it till I came in the program at how insane my eating was. It was really, I didn't get it. I didn't get it.
And when you first came into OA and you started to recover and get abstinent, how did you cope with your first holiday season?
Well, it was interesting for me. Soon after I came into the program, I had gotten pregnant. So that put a whole new twist on my entire program. And it was a holiday vacation. It was just my immediate my parents and my in-laws, and I live in Minnesota. We went up north to a remote location. There was no cell service. I mean, it's dark. It's light out until 10 o'clock in the evening, and it was a free-for-all eating. Everybody was eating, but I wasn't able to anymore. And it was the most uncomfortable feeling. The mosquitoes are everywhere, so I can't go outside. There's no town. There's no cell service. I didn't know what to do. And thankfully, I had a really strong sponsor that was taking me through the big book and had set me up in really good ways on how to go about my vacation. And I went with literature. So I went in a room and I hid myself and I read my abstinence book and cried. And thankfully, my husband came in and I was able to share with him what was going on. And he helped me talk to everybody about not eating in front of me and not snacking in front of me. I called my sponsor the next day that I got into town. So it was a really scary time. But you know what? I did it. And I was 6 months abstinent at the time. So
good for you. That must have been very stressful.
It was. And the holidays around that would have been like Halloween, Thanksgiving. My daughter was born the day before Halloween, so I was enmeshed in that. I didn't have to worry about the candy and everything. I was in the hospital. And then Thanksgiving came around. It was different because at Thanksgiving and Christmas, I was focused on my baby. I didn't care about the food, but it was truly the way God wanted me to come in the program and have a focus on something else besides the food. I was very, very blessed in so many ways.
Now, you've been in program, you said, for 11 and a half years, right?
Yeah.
What are some of the things you do now when you know the holidays are coming up or some special event, and you know that could potentially be challenging as far as eating is concerned? Do you have some tips or strategies that you depend on?
Absolutely. Like I said, I was very blessed with a very strong sponsor that gave me lots of great suggestions of calling places ahead of time if I was going away for a vacation or a holiday. If it was a restaurant we were going to, calling ahead and finding out what abstinent things I could get. Sometimes I pre-pack my meals. Even though I'm going to an OA convention coming up this weekend, I'm still pre-packing a lot of my food just in case so that I know that I have what I need because I can't be guaranteed that I can get everything I need. I measure my foods ahead of time. Sometimes when I'm going somewhere, I eat my meal before I go, depending on what's going to be served. Sometimes I pack part of a meal if I know I can only get, say, my protein and a fruit, but I won't be able to get a certain vegetable. I take what I need, and I always have a backup. And it's been a huge blessing because there have been many times where if I wouldn't have had that backup, I don't know what I would have done. I know I wouldn't have starved to death, but I would have been really scared and not known what to do. So those things really have saved me.
Yeah, those are some great ideas. It sounds like you do a lot. You really make a point of planning ahead every day.
Yeah, I do. I actually, during the week now, I plan my meals. My breakfast and lunch are almost the same every day. I measure out my lunches and certain breakfast items for the whole week. It just makes it easier. I don't have to think about it. It's just plan. I think I've heard in program, plan ahead so that you don't plan to fail. I forget how the little motto goes, but if I plan ahead, I can't fail. I always have something to keep me safe.
Right. I think it's something like fail to plan or plan to fail or something like that.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
Yeah, that's good. I'm curious, this is a little off the subject, but with all the planning that you do now, which clearly has been successful for you, do you find that you plan more ahead in other areas of your life? Like have you been able to take that strategy into other areas of your life?
I do tend to be a more organized person, and I do plan things. Having 2 kids, working as a preschool teacher, I benefit from a lot of things in my program that really, the structure that I have in my program really helps to set me up for balancing my day to the best of my ability. Thank God program is about progress and not perfection, and I can take what I learn in program and apply it to my everyday life. And yes, I do try and plan as best I can, and I try to plan but then let go of the expectations of what's actually going to happen, because it doesn't always happen as I want it to.
Do you ever, or did you even in your early years, in your early years in your abstinence, did you ever feel disappointed that you couldn't eat what everyone else was eating, or jealous of normal eaters?
There were times I went through different phases of it. I can remember some of the first times with family members listening to them, oh, I shouldn't eat that. And then I could hear in my head, well, then don't eat it. I get angry at them. Or there'd be times where they'd be having something and I'd be bummed out that I couldn't have it anymore, but my sponsor reminded me in a very nice way, I had my lifetime, if it was ice cream, I've had my lifetime's worth, and probably yours and several other people of that particular item. It's not mine anymore. I can't have it anymore.
We're going to take a quick break,
okay,
and then we'll come back and you can talk about that some more.
Okay.
So we will continue with Michelle after the break. This is Sound Bites from Overeaters Anonymous on the Voice America Health and Wellness channel. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Sound Bites from Overeaters Anonymous. We're talking with Michelle about how she deals with the focus on food around the holidays. So we were talking about whether you felt deprived at all, not being able to eat the foods that other people seem to be able to eat and not have a problem with. Was there anything more that you wanted to say about that?
I did just happen to remember the other thing I was thinking about. I can specifically remember being in the car one summer with my husband. Don't remember where we were driving, and I just happened to glance over to somebody else in the car, and they were eating an ice cream cone. I don't remember what nasty thing came out of my mouth, but it surprised me because I was several years abstinent, and I was angry that she could eat a cone of ice cream on a hot summer day, and I couldn't. It didn't make me want it. I wasn't craving it, but I was kind of ticked me off. But, it's bound to happen.
And how did you kind of get yourself out of that space?
I think I remember talking to my husband about how I was feeling at the time, and it was just as quick. I remembered, I have had my lifetime's worth, and it's not for me anymore, and I don't think about it anymore. There are times I still try and remove myself from certain situations. There for a while, when we moved to Minnesota, there was an ice cream shop in town, and I felt bad because my kids wanted to go, so then I just said, you know what, can you take them? I don't want to go. Now I can go there, and it doesn't bother me at all. But when I'm not sure, I ask somebody else to do it. And I'm very blessed because my family is really supportive. And even when I'm at my in-laws or something, is it okay if we pop popcorn? There for a while, that was a binge. It is a binge food for me. And I'm just grateful that they asked me ahead of time, will the smell bother you? Because for a while it did. Today it doesn't.
I'm curious if you know what would happen just from your own experience of compulsive eating if you had that one taste or one piece of something that was a trigger or binge food for you at one time.
I don't know that I would truly just pick it up and eat it and not be able to stop, but I also don't want to find out. I have had some instances, and they've been over holidays, where my structure of my day, say Christmas time, and I'm not working, so I'm not in my regular routine. If I'm not in my regular routine, that is a scary time for me, and I've been aware of that now, that I've come very close 2 times to having a slip. And it wasn't because it was the food, it was all the red flags before. I might have not gotten up as early and read my meditation books. I might not have called my sponsor. It was just little things that came before that, and then something at a meal of something, I had a bigger slice of something or things like that. So I have to be real vigilant on trying to maintain that structure within my day no matter what. As much as I don't like to do it, especially on a weekend, I really have to keep it up because I don't want to go back to the food, because I don't know if a piece of whatever, the ice cream, so to speak, that was one of my big ones. I don't know if I'd take a bite, if it would just throw me right back in, and I don't want to find out.
Yeah, it's not worth the risk, huh?
No, absolutely not. Not for what I have today, no.
How has your experience of the holidays been changed as a result of the recovery you found in OA?
I really find that now over the holidays, it's a true blessing. I'm so present. I'm involved in the family, whether we're playing games or we're having a conversation. I'm not the cook of the family, thank goodness. That strangely true. I'm not the one. I'm the cleanup crew or whatever, and I don't prepare the things. I will help if I'm needed. So I'm not even in the kitchen. I'm usually doing something else, and because of that, I'm just more able to enjoy the day now and not think about the food. And when it comes time for dessert, I'm the one doing the dishes, and I'm really okay with that. And it's worked out really well for me.
Oh, that's great. That's really inspiring. So it sounds like the holidays have really transformed for you from something that actually probably made you suffer in the long run to something that's really special now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really is.
Anything else you would like to share?
I can't think of anything specific, no.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Michelle, for joining us on the show.
Thank you for asking.
It was great to have you. Okay, so we're going to welcome Michael to the show. Michael's from Colorado, and we're going to talk about his recovery in OA and what the holidays are like for him. So, Michael, are you there?
Yes, this is Michael from Colorado, and a pleasure to speak with you today, Naomi.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit, well, first, I understand you've maintained a 110-pound weight loss for over 30 years. Is that right?
Yes, I've been abstinent from compulsive eating for 30 years, a day at a time, and the maintenance of the weight, probably about 29 of those years.
Wow, that's fantastic.
I'm just very, very grateful.
What was it like for you when you were in the middle of compulsive eating?
Well, ate when I wasn't not even hungry, eating in the middle of the night, particularly ice cream by the half a gallon. Would also, more days than not, during the week, stop at Dairy Queen a couple times a day. High blood pressure, limited clothing selection. So often I just couldn't stop eating. And what I learned later on was that what I was doing was taking food well beyond its intended purpose of physical nourishment, and I was attempting to use food to satisfy emotional hungers and fill spiritual voids, which was and is an impossibility, and I tried and I failed. When
you were trying to fill an emotional void or a spiritual void, did you ever find that it was filled by eating food?
Well, so it seemed. The feelings of incompleteness, the disappointments that God was delivering to me, or that was my perception, that pain or that discomfort, food it was a short-lived relief, but it was temporary at best.
When the holidays came around, before you found OA, what was that like for you?
Well, for the most part, as I remember, it was a lot of nonstop snacking, a lot of double and triple portions of food. Of course, there were fun times during the holidays. My life, as I remember it, was not all chaotic. There was some fun and peaceful times, fun times, and then there was not the not so fun times. And I found it very difficult to say no to food when it was offered. And at the time, I didn't realize I had a choice. And what was happening to me, as I later learned, that the compulsion to overeat and the mental food obsession, they were speaking for me. They were, in a respect, they were responding to even unhealthy choices and, continuous compulsive overeating.
Do you recall your first holiday season after you came into OA? How that was for you?
Yes, it was difficult. As I remember, oftentimes I hear the Christmas season, the holiday season, they're the high holy overeating days.
Right.
And but it was difficult. But I had the program, the beginnings of living and working the OA program. And what was shared with me by my sponsor and others that I was listening to at meetings was that the holiday season, whatever the holiday season might be or is, in terms of celebrating and recognizing the significance attached to a particular holiday. But in my life as a compulsive overeater, such a day, such a time, such a period was just like any other day. That as long as I was doing what the program suggested I do and turn to God, I'd be okay. I prayed a lot. And what was helpful to me during these times was realizing and hearing that, reading that, compulsive overeating is an illness, and it's not a social problem or a moral issue. It's an illness. Other treatments, other prescriptions didn't work for me, but OA is the prescription. And as long as I'm, if I may draw an analogy, as long as I'm opening the prescription bottle each day, I've got a chance of being okay.
It sounds like that was a real relief for you to hear that it was an illness, that it wasn't like a personal failing on your part, that there was really something wrong.
Exactly right. And during times, holidays or other days of temptations early on, I can always pick up the phone, call my sponsor, call another fellow OA person, and you don't sometimes yet, well, now what am I going to say? Well, often what I did, I just say help. And they knew what I was saying, so we maybe prayed the serenity prayer, chatted a little bit, and that in itself, is part of the prescription, and it does work.
Now, during the holidays, it's often a time we're visiting with family and friends. Early in your program, did you tell them that you were in OA, or even now, if you're in a situation with new people? How did people respond to that?
Well, I did let family members know that I was in Overeaters Anonymous, and that I had a food allergy, and they were quite understanding. I was often, offered, whatever it might be at a holiday celebration, and something early on, it was difficult. But I found the courage. I was given the courage and the guidance and the support to say no, thank you.
Because I know sometimes people, they always want someone to eat with them.
Exactly.
Come on, just have a bite. It's okay. You can have a little bit, right?
Exactly. Yes. Right.
But really, for compulsive eaters, you can't.
No.
It's not an option for you. Like being an alcoholic, it's not an option to just have one drink.
One drink or one of something to me is like, one bag full.
Right.
Or one half gallon of ice cream. I don't know. I would. Let me correct myself. I did have one at a time.
Right.
Yes.
Right. One after the other.
One after the other. Exactly.
What are some of the things that you do now when the holidays or maybe a wedding or some special event is coming up that could be challenging as far as food is concerned?
It's what I do. At least what this has evolved into, Naomi, is it's that daily prescription for recovery. And again, whether it be this day, a special day, or another day, each day, as my recovery journey progressed, I became more and more willing and more being guided to. I'm on my knee. I would be on my knees in prayer each morning. There would be certain readings that I would do. and expressing a willingness to go to every length to abstain from compulsive eating. Perhaps maybe make a call.
You know what? We have to take a quick break. I'm so sorry to interrupt you,
that's fine.
but we will be back with you after the break. You are listening to Soundbites from Overeaters Anonymous on Voice America. We will be right back.
I knew I had a problem, but I didn't know what to do about it.
I tried counting calories, I took pills, eating, and then more eating.
I really wanted to stop, but nothing could make me stop.
At one point, it was so bad that I just felt like giving up.
I felt so alone.
Like nobody else could possibly understand.
We understand. We're Overeaters Anonymous, and we have helped thousands of people just like you. People who want to stop their compulsive eating and start living a healthy, rewarding life.
Overeaters Anonymous, help me get my life back.
Now I eat in a way that's healthy and good for me.
I never realized what I was missing out on.
With OA, I am living again and loving it.
Start living the life you deserve with help from Overeaters Anonymous. Find us on the web at oa.org.
Welcome back to the show. We are talking with Michael about his recovery from compulsive eating and how he stays abstinent during the holidays. So, Michael, you were talking about your prescription for abstinence?
It's daily prayer work, some set prayers, some just off-the-cuff prayers. God listens to most anything I have to offer. I did learn something about prayer, that God doesn't need my prayers, I do. You know, during the day, perhaps a phone call, maybe I'll do a little writing. I'll go about my business. If there's another compulsive reader that calls and perhaps needs to chat a bit or needs to meet for coffee, and we can do that. I mean, it doesn't happen every day, but I certainly am willing to do what is necessary to help another compulsive reader. And then at night, I'll be on my knees, giving thanks and doing some reading. And I've been known to take phone calls at night, before midnight. I'll answer the regular way, hello. If I'm called after midnight, I will say, hello, this better be important.
Right.
And it always is, because, if somebody's absence is on the line, and I mean this very seriously, if somebody's absence is on the line, they may not get it back, and any sleep I lose, I can always recover that. So
it sounds like gratitude is really important for your program every day.
Very much so. Very much so. I am amazed, as I told I would be, by the beauty, by the rewards. You know, I still have life's ups and downs and straightaways and detours and all that goes into living life. But and that continues to go on. Life goes on. It's just my perspective, and we not necessarily react as I once did, and sometimes I do, but more so respond. And there's some emotional balance. There's some mental clarity that has come as a result of this program, and certainly the wonderful evolving relationship with God, who is ultimately the answer.
Did you ever feel, or do you ever feel deprived a bit with regard to food, in terms of seeing other people being able to just eat whatever they want to eat, but you know that there are some things that are just not an option for you? Does that ever make you feel deprived?
I would say that early on, and I mean early on when I'm saying, I'm not talking about the first few hours, the first days, maybe months or maybe that did, because there's a transition of my old behaviors, my old reactions. But as time has gone on, what happens, which is so great, and it's something that I couldn't do by myself, but with God and OA and the fellowship, it's placed food in its proper perspective. This is what food is here for, and this is why we have food, for our nourishment. The thing is that the other thing is, see, I never knew I had a choice. Choice was being made for me, but now as a result of this program, I have a choice. And it's not that I couldn't compulsively overeat today, or eat that, or eat this, or eat something there. It's that I choose not to.
Right.
I choose not to do that today. Maybe tomorrow's different, but I choose not to do that today. And that power to choose is, again, supported by the OA program, the fellowship, and God.
And that was something before you really didn't have a choice, or you didn't
No.
think you had a choice. It was really the compulsion that was choosing for you.
Yes, that is absolutely correct.
How has your experience of the holidays changed as a result of being in OA and the experiences you've had in the program and in your recovery?
Well, the holidays per se haven't really changed. In just generally speaking, you have your gladness and you have your sadness and good times and presents and laughter and tears and all of those things that go into holidays and the human experience. And that's, in varying degrees, that's happens each holiday period. What I have found and continue to find is that I'm changing my perception of the, for instance, the holidays, how I perceive them, how I respond to them, and knowing that they're there for celebration, for enjoyment, getting through. The holidays are not always gladness. There's some sadness, but again, turning into the program, which is their works. And turning to God, it gives me direction. It gives me the guidance, and it gives me the motivation to, if I have to step back and say, well, just step back and pause and how best to proceed. And I don't do it perfectly. Where I am perfect is in my imperfections. I'm very perfect in that area. And if you don't believe me, I'll give you a couple of numbers you can call, and they'll verify it.
No doubt. I remember when I talked to you earlier, you said something about the 12-step program being a journey within. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yes. What I am finding is that, and continue to find, is that I have really no power over external circumstances. I tried that. If you remember, at a circus, you see the performer with the plates, the spinning plates, and he's got 2 or 3 going, and then he's got 5 going. Then he looks back and 2 fell off. So I'm not able. I don't have that luxury to be able to control external circumstances. What I have a chance, what I have an opportunity, and what I'm encouraged to do is, and that's where the real recovery comes, is from within. And I believe that the 12-step program of Overeaters Anonymous is a journey within me, and that journey goes to my center, okay? And that center, I believe, is where God resides. So we got rid of some of the excess weight. We get through the steps. We got rid of some of the excess and the baggage that I was carrying, and
right.
And so to lighten that up, to make that journey, and I'm finding that this, the recovery is in OA. In Overeaters Anonymous, what I'm finding, it's not to recovery, it's of recovery, the journey of recovery, because we're recovering as we go along each day.
That's really beautiful, the way that you shared that. Thank you so much for sharing, Michael.
Well, thank you
for being
so much.
on the
I really
show.
appreciate being invited. God bless you.
Okay, so we are going to talk to our next guest, which is Karen from Florida. Are you there, Karen?
I am, Naomi.
Hi, Karen. Welcome.
Thank you.
Tell me first about your weight loss and your length of maintaining that.
I've been in programs since January 11th, 1992. My current abstinence, which is I had some search and destroy where I thought I could do it on my own. My current abstinence is 10.5 years, and I'm maintaining a 210-pound weight loss.
So what was it like for you when you were struggling with compulsive eating? Was it something that when you were a kid, even, you were struggling with that?
I've been a compulsive overeater probably since birth, but the one thing I knew that I could get in my family was food. My father was in the food business, and we weren't wealthy. We were poor. I didn't know we were poor because there was always food on the table, and it was good food. And my grandfather was a professional baker, and my mother was a wonderful baker and cook. So there was always food. And there wasn't a lot of, I'm the youngest of 5, so by the time I got around, they were really tired of kids. So there wasn't a lot of attention. There wasn't a lot of family. There wasn't a lot of that. So what I knew that I could count on was food, and it was always there. So I learned how to get it, how to sneak it. My mother would spend the summers, my father would bring the produce home from the farmers that didn't sell, and my mother would can all summer. And it would go down in the fruit cellar, and I knew where the fruit cellar was, I knew where everything was, and I knew how I could get in, open the jars, and eat it, and arrange it, so maybe she wouldn't know I'd gotten down in there and eaten it. So
wow.
It's been all my life. I can't remember. My earliest recollection is probably I was 6 or 7, maybe 8, when I was compulsively eating. But I didn't know any other way. And it was my coping mechanism. It was my way of dealing with life.
Like finding solace or comfort.
Yes. It was it was the only thing I could count on was the food. That
wow.
It never, in my mind, it never failed me. And in reality, it failed me every time.
Did you, were you put on diets even when you were a kid? Did your family or your parents insist on that?
Yes. My first diet, I was 11. And my mother took me to a doctor, and he put me on, in those days, they were called Black Beauty. Well, they weren't called Black Beauties, but that's what they were. They were amphetamines. So at 11, I was on a diet, and I lost weight. And then that summer, my mother became seriously ill. The house was in chaos. My brother was brought home from the service on an emergency leave. My sister had to leave college. And I thought it was because I had lost weight and I was thin. That's what my mind said. That's what I thought. So I proceeded to gain all that weight and back. By the time I was 12, I was over 200 pounds.
That must have been difficult as a kid.
It was horrible. I mean, what amazed me is that not only were students, my classmates were cruel, teachers were cruel. Strangers, family, it didn't matter. It still amazes me that people feel that they can say anything to someone who is fat.
Yeah.
I've had strangers make comments to me. You really want to eat that? So I've had all the indignities, public and private, and mostly what I told myself, that I was worthless. And, again, the only comfort I found was in food, and it lied to me.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, and then we will come back and talk some more, okay?
Okay.
I'm Naomi Lapel, and you're listening to Sound Bites from Overeaters Anonymous on the Voice America Health and Wellness channel. Stay with us. Welcome back to Sound Bites from Overeaters Anonymous. We're talking with Karen about her recovery from compulsive eating and how she stays sane around food during the holiday season. So let's talk a little bit about the holidays. When the holidays came around, what was that like for you?
Before OA, it was a free-for-all. When, as I said, my father was in the business, the family worked in the business between Thanksgiving and Christmas. So starting with Thanksgiving, I knew where all the food was. Thanksgiving was at our house, so all my father's relatives came to our house for Thanksgiving. So I knew where all the food was. And I knew how much, I don't remember anything but the food. I remember what it was, who had it, how much was left over, when I could get it, when I could sneak it. It was amazing. The amount of food, and as I said, my mother was a baker, so she would start baking early November. Well, you can go in and get one or two. I mean, I never could eat one or two of anything, but I tried. I just sample. Well, you got to sample, make sure they're still okay. And she would make some things 2 or 3 times because she couldn't figure out where they all went. Well, I was I was making sure that the batches were good. So it was nonstop. And then, as I got older and I moved away from home and met my future husband, his family was Italian. And I remember my first Thanksgiving with his family, and I thought, there is some way I have to get in this family. I have to marry this man, because I had never seen that much food. We had 2 complete meals. We had the first Italian meal, and I thought, well, that was interesting. You know, I wasn't used to that, but it was really good, and I really enjoyed it. And then we took about an hour break to clean the table, and they did dishes, and out of the kitchen came a whole entire meal. And I thought, I have died and gone to heaven. Somehow I've got to figure out how they do this. So I don't remember anything else. I have very little memory of the holidays except for the food. That's what was my focus. And then when I would start, after we got married and I started having the holidays, the best meal was after everybody left. Because then I could eat like I wanted.
Yeah, of course.
That's really start. That's when I really could dive in with nobody watching. After, everybody went to bed, that's what I would do.
Well, what are some of the things that you do now that you've been in OA and you've stayed abstinent for so long and maintained a healthy weight? What do you do now when you know the holidays are coming up? How do you cope? Do you have particular strategies, tips, anything like that?
I do. When I was newly abstinent, I didn't have a lot of credibility. So it was a fight to say, I can't eat that. This is not mine. And I had the relatives that said, oh, you can have one. No, I can't. Oh, yeah, you can. No, I can't. Sometimes I'd have to get up and leave the table because I just couldn't handle that. Now, when there is a holiday, I call ahead. What time are you planning? That's the biggest thing, because especially on Thanksgiving, people eat one meal. The good news, I eat 3. I get to have 3 meals on Thanksgiving, just like I get every other day. So if the meal is in the middle of the day, like at 3 o'clock, it's like, how do I do this? So then I have to arrange what I do. Sometimes I will wait. If they start eating at 3, you get there at 3, you might eat by 4, so I figure I'm good till 5. So I try to plan ahead. I always call and ask what they're fixing or what they're having. My family knows what I do. They're very respectful. I have credibility today, and they're very respectful. They'll cook me something separate, or they'll say, Karen, you can have this, you can't have that, what do you need? And if they don't have it, I'll say, that's fine, I'll bring it. I don't take chances.
It sounds like having that support and that acceptance from your family and friends is just so important to be able to get through these times.
For me, it's critical, but even if I didn't have their support, I still need to take care of myself, so I call ahead. Right. If they want to go out to a restaurant, invariably when I'm with my family, they'll want to go out to eat. Well, can I eat there? Well, sure, you can eat there. Well, they don't know whether I can eat there or not, and it's their responsibility. So I will call ahead. Or I'll say, nowadays with the computer, most restaurants have their menus online. I'll go in and I'll research and say, okay, I can eat there, or I can't eat there. And if I can't eat there, I'll say, gee, I can't eat here. Could we go someplace else? Yeah. Then I've learned to speak up for myself and say what I need, because the food no longer gives me that emotional and spiritual support that I thought it did. Or that I wanted.
Did you find that difficult before speaking up for what you needed? Was that something that you really learned by being in program?
Working the steps, studying the steps, and working them for me. Not just reading them, but working them and delving way into the steps and saying, okay, what is my part in this? This is not got to really do with anybody else but me. What is my part, and what do I need to do? I never stood up for myself. If they threw me a crumb is better than nothing. What I had to learn was to say, I am worth being a normal body weight. I am worth being healthy. I deserve to be healthy. And I'm the only one that can make that. So whether it's a holiday or vacation or whatever, it doesn't matter. I need to be prepared to take care of myself and to speak up. I'm not a people pleaser anymore. I still have tendencies, but not the way I was, that, you know, whatever you want to give me is okay. No, it's not.
So you said that before, all your memories of the holidays were just about the food. And now that you've been in program for a while, how has your experience changed? Do you have other memories of the holidays now that are different than what you had in the past?
I remember the people who were there. I can participate in a conversation and not worrying about, is the plate going to pass another time so I can get another serving? Will there be anything left? So I can be engaged in a conversation. I can be present. I was never present before. My focus was on the food. So I can be present. I can listen to the conversation. I can engage with the family or friends who are together, and we can laugh, and I'm participating. I'm not an observer anymore, and I spent most of my life observing. And today I'm a participant, and that makes a big difference.
That sounds like a real transformation in your life, actually.
It is. I'm not the person I used to be, either physically, hopefully emotionally, and spiritually too. I'm becoming what I believe God wanted me to be all along.
Like you've really found yourself.
Yes. Someone once asked me what I think the question was, what has OA done for you? Or what's the biggest gift? And it was me. I'm the biggest gift that OA gave me. Because before I didn't know who I was or what I was, or if you wanted me to be something else, I'd be that, because I didn't know. And today I'm working on being who I am.
That's so inspiring. Talk about what might happen, just from your own experience, if you had a bite of one of your trigger foods now.
Well, about 10 and a half years ago, or 11 years ago, I thought I knew it all. I'd been in program long enough. My husband had just passed away, and I thought, I'm too busy. I'm too busy to go to meetings. I'm too busy. My life is too full. I know how to do this. I've been doing this for long enough. And I started picking up just little things. And I was off and running. And in a very short amount of time, I gained 40 pounds. And woke up and said, what am I doing? I know what the 200 pounds is. It's just waiting for me. So I've had that brief experience knowing that I don't care how long I'm stopped. If I think I can handle one, I will be back where I was before, and I will be worse. I will be one of those people that they have to break down the door or take out a window to get me out of the house. I will be one of those people. I know it. So, you know what? I've had enough for a lifetime. And there are lots of foods I haven't had in the 20 years I've been in program. But you know what? There were so many before then that there's nothing new out there for me that's going to give me what OA can give me.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. It's just really remarkable, all your stories, how you've come through the program and really made lives for yourself that you never imagined were possible before. So I'm honored to hear your stories and be able to share them with others.
Thank you for asking me. I'm privileged and honored to be able to do this.
Good. Thank you. Well, it's time to wrap up another episode of Sound Bites from OA. Thank you again to members Michelle, Michael, and Karen for being on the show today and sharing your insights and your successes with us. If you're suffering with your eating patterns and it feels like no matter what you try, you just can't stop, I want you to know that there are people out there who felt exactly like you, and they've suffered in the same way, and they found freedom from their obsession with food during the holidays and year-round in the OA program. Go to our website at oa.org and find a meeting, or call us at 505-891-2664. That's 505-891-2664. Join us next week when we'll be talking to more members with incredible successes on our show, 100 Pounds or More to Lose. Is There Hope for Me in OA? Thanks for listening.